Go ahead. Why don't we go the way we were going to go? Are you
Uh,
done,
can I
Raul?
go? Can
Yeah,
I go? Raul, do you want to go first, or can I go?
Basil goes first.
Okay.
Uh,
I got some questions for you, Ray. What were your favorite memories while broadcasting during your time at Temple University?
My favorite memories of broadcasting at Temple, probably broadcasting a an NIT game, Temple against who was it? Virginia Tech. They played Temple, played Virginia Tech in an opening round of the NIT. This would have been 66, 67, thereabouts. And we brought our microphones and our equipment up to Madison Square Garden, and we're there courtside. And I remember signing on and saying, coming to you live from Madison Square Garden in New York.
oh,
WRTI radio is here to bring you Temple at the NIT. And just that feeling, being able to say those words. And this was Madison Square Garden was new then.
right.
This Madison Square Garden, this incarnation of Madison Square Garden had like literally just opened. So Madison Square Garden was new, and so were we. So just being able to have that sign on and say, "Coming to you live from Madison Square Garden," that was a real thrill. It was the feeling of first time in my life I kind of felt like I was in the big leagues.
Yeah, that must have been a real rush. It really was. Go ahead, Basil.
Yeah. Which awards that you have won over the years are you the most proud of?
Award. I guess the it's now called the Bill Nunn Award. Originally, when I got it, it was called the Dick McCann Award, and it's the presented by the Pro Football Writers of America. It's their vote. It's your peers, and every year they pick one writer, pro football writer, to be honored on what they call long and distinguished reporting on the field of pro football, and it's voted on by the other writers. It's been voted on by your peers, and if you get that, your name goes on the plaque at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton.
Oh, wow.
So it's what the best way of putting it, I think, is probably that puts you in the writers' wing of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that was
That's,
pretty cool. I mean, yeah, and you're part of the enshrinement class, so you're
oh,
up
really?
there. Yeah, and you get honored as part of the induction ceremony. The players that get inducted that year, you're part of that whole weekend. So you get to ride in the parade. You get to take part in all the Hall of Fame stuff. And there's one writer and there's one broadcaster honored each year. The writer gets the Bill Nunn Award. The broadcaster gets the Pete Rozelle Award. And you're both honored as part of the Hall of Fame class that year. So that was 1995, and to get that honor, knowing it was voted on by your contemporaries, and to actually be part of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony and to see your name up on the wall at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is that's pretty exciting. So that would probably be my number one.
Yeah, that has to be the ultimate goal. I mean, when you win that, when you get on into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, uh, it just must be an incredible rush to do that. And
It's great. I mean, it's really exciting, and my family got to go out there. My parents came up from Florida. They got to spend the weekend with me out there. They got to be part of all that stuff. So the honor is great, and being able to share it with your family makes it even greater. That
oh,
was,
oh
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, that was 1995, so that's a while ago, but I still remember it as something
31, yeah,
very, very
30,
special.
31 years ago.
Yeah.
I
It was a
think a
long
couple of
time.
these guys weren't here.
I was only a baby.
All right.
Yeah.
Who inspired you to go into broadcasting and sports writing?
Um, Nobody. That's just what I wanted to do. I don't know that I was inspired by any one particular person. It was just the feeling that there was what I wanted to do. And I guess if anybody sort of inspired me, it was my fifth grade teacher. Uh, her name was Sister Claire Ursula. She was sister of St. Joseph Nun at my grammar school. And in fifth grade class, she asked the class as an assignment class, as a class assignment to write an essay about the person you most admire. That was the assignment. And so we all sat and wrote an essay and turned it in. And the next day she came back into class with all the papers graded. And she said, before I distribute these and give you back your papers, she said, I want to read one of the essays that was written by one of your classmates. And she started reading the essay, and it was mine. And when she got to the end, she said, this essay was written by Raymond Didinger. And she said to me and to the whole class, she said, Mr. Didinger, you should be a writer. And it was the first time in my life anybody ever told me I was good at something. And so was that inspiring? Yeah, it probably was.
Oh, sure.
I mean, now I can't tell you that at that moment I knew that that's exactly what I was going to do.
But it might be laying in the back of your head.
But it planted the seed, yeah. And then from then on, I just started working towards that goal of becoming a writer, and then hopefully becoming someone who could write about sports, because that's what I was really most interested in. I knew I wanted to write, but I would like to write about something that I really had a passion for, which was sports. So the idea was to take the writing and to take the sports and make the two of them work together. And I was lucky enough that it worked out for me.
That's good. That's excellent. I was going to say, with covering the Eagles, how is that? When you first started writing about the Eagles, what were the thoughts that were in your mind about what you were doing and about watching the game and writing about it, and how I always wonder how you come up with the whole story, but you do it in such a quick pace that it's easy to read out. And I just wanted to know how did you feel when you first got up there, and when did you first start writing for the Eagles?
1970.
1970.
I was at the Philadelphia Bulletin, and I had only been there for 1 year. They hired me in '69 to cover high school sports. But in 1970, the gentleman who had been covering the Eagles for 25 years retired. And all of a sudden, they needed a pro football writer. And the sports editor shocked everybody, including me, by putting me on the Eagles beat. I was only 23. And as I said, I was only been at the paper for a year. So to be handed the biggest beat on the paper was not something I expected, and I don't think very many other people expected, but he gave me that opportunity. And so that was 1970. It was the Eagles' last year at Franklin Field. They were in their last year at Franklin Field. The vet was still being built. Vet was still being built. Yeah. The Eagles were actually supposed to move into the vet in '70, but they fell behind in terms of construction. So they had to stay one more year at Franklin Field. And so that was my first year covering them, 1970. And I've been covering them either in newspapers or radio or TV ever since. So it's, wow, long time.
How big was Franklin Field back then?
I'm sorry?
How big was it back then before we were born, before three of us, Raul, before me and Raul and Basil were born. I know Charlie was around
That'd
then.
be huge. Well,
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble. I'm having a little trouble making that out. Your
Uh,
question.
how big was Franklin Field back then? Was it big as the vet in Lincoln and the Lincoln Financial Field?
The field is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just um, it was exciting. It was exciting to cover pro football. It was certainly a different time. I mean, it's a long time ago. So the there weren't as many reporters. There wasn't as much coverage. It wasn't as intense as it
Right.
is now. I mean, you didn't have all the TV. You didn't have ESPN. You didn't have sports talk radio. You didn't have podcasts. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we kind of take for granted today didn't exist in 1970. It was pretty much just newspapers.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yeah, I mean, after an Eagles game, after the Eagles would play a game, post-game press conference at Franklin Field would be the coach sitting behind his desk in his office and with 4 or 5 writers asking him questions. I mean,
Yeah.
now you see after any Eagles game, Nick Sirianni there at a podium and
There's
maybe
a ton of them.
100 reporters in the room. Back then, it was maybe 4 of us, and it was different. It was really different, and in some ways, it was actually easier and better because it was easier for you to, for the lack of a better way of putting it, to get to the truth.
Right.
I mean, if you're alone in the office with the coach and it's only 3 or 4 guys who the coach knows, he knows who you are, you can ask him a pretty blunt question, and if he trusts you, he might feel comfortable enough to say, look, don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this, but here's what happened on that play. Or off the record, I'll tell you what happened. Nick Sirianni cannot go off the record in a room with 100 reporters.
Right.
So as a reporter, it's a little easier to get to the real information when you don't have a million other people in the same room with you. And in that respect, covering the games back then was probably a little bit easier, and covering the team was probably a little bit easier than it is for the people today.
Down at the Citizens Bank, or down at the where the Eagles play. Excuse me. Do they have a special room or a special area for all the sports writers when they come in? Yeah.
At the stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a conference room right off the locker room. So
Okay.
so the coach will come right out of the locker room from where he talks to the players, and then he'll come across the hall, and then there's the room where the press is all in there just waiting for him. And there's a podium with a microphone, and then all folding chairs, and that's where it's done. I mean, it's a big press conference.
I'm sure.
It's a lot of people and a lot of TV cameras, and it's broadcast live. The coach's press conference is broadcast live on NBC Sports Philly, the Eagles postgame show. They take it live. WIP Radio takes it live, and as I said, the coaches, he most of the time they won't be all that honest with you about things,
Of course.
because they're being careful with their words. They don't know who everybody is in the room, and they don't want to. If somebody messed up, they don't want to call them out in a room full of reporters. So the coach, most of the time, will be very cautious and about his answers. And as a result, sometimes as a reporter, it's hard to get to the information that you really want to help you write your story.
Because he'll say like 2 or 3 words. I mean, he talks real quick, doesn't he? And it's like you're saying, it's hard to get the whole idea of what he's saying.
Which coach is that?
Well, I'll say Nick Sirianni because we're talking football.
Oh, No, Sirianni is the problem with Sirianni is he talks in circles.
Yeah.
Nick talks in coach speak, and you can ask him a really direct question, and he'll sort of talk around it.
Right.
And that's not unusual. I mean, that's the way with most of these guys.
All
I mean,
coaches are like that.
yeah, I mean, Buddy, Andy Reid was certainly like that. I mean, Andy would never answer a question. If you asked him a specific question about a specific play and what went wrong on that play, Andy would typically say, "Well, I'm not going to get into that."
Yeah.
Or the other easy fallback for a coach is, I have to look at the film.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't tell you that right now. I need to look at the film. Which, I mean, and there's a certain amount of truth to that.
True.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, for coaches to really fully understand what happened in given plays in the game, yeah, you do kind of have to study the film and see it. But a lot of times they just use that as a way of not answering the question.
Right. Yeah. Way of sidestepping you.
Yeah.
Yes.
My question to you is, when the Eagles first won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and Brandon Graham did the strip sack against Tom Brady, how excited were you when they won their first Super Bowl?
Oh, very excited. Very excited because, I'm a native Philadelphian. Grew up rooting for the team from the time I was, 7, 8 years old, and went up to their training camp, which was then in Hershey, Pennsylvania, with my parents in the summertime. And we used to go up there for 2 weeks and watch practice. I mean, that's how big of an Eagles fan I was as a kid, and that's how I was raised.
Right.
And so, when I got to started covering them in 1970, it was a different deal. I mean, I'm not a fan anymore. I'm a reporter covering the team.
Right.
But I was, I never was ever sure that I was ever going to see him. I was ever going to see him win a Super Bowl. I mean, the way things were going, you just kind of thought,
yeah.
well, they're going to be one of those teams that's, there's never going to get there. And so when they did, Super Bowl 52, when they did win it, and I was there watching it in the stadium in Minnesota, it was very exciting. And I wasn't rooting as such because I'm covering the game. I'm a reporter.
Right.
Can't allow myself to start rooting, but I was happy to see them win. I was happy for the coaches and players. I was happy for Jeff Lurie, who I think has been a very good owner for this team. But I think most of all, I was happy for the city. I was happy for the fans. Because they had waited such a long time. And I think a lot of them shared the same feeling that I had. That was, we'll never live to see this.
Right.
I know both of my parents, who were big Eagles fans, they, after the Eagles lost in Jacksonville, the Andy Reid team, when they lost to those Patriots in Jacksonville, I know both of my parents said, I'll never live to see this team win a Super Bowl. And there were probably thousands upon thousands of Eagles fans that felt that way.
Yeah.
And they were right. They didn't. But when it finally happened in Super Bowl 52, when they finally did win the game and beat those Patriots in doing it, it was a very joyous occasion. And I felt really, really good for the city and for the fans who had waited that long.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Who has a question up there? Basil, you have one?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Eagles, who is your favorite member of the Eagles? It could be a coach. It could be Brian Dawkins. No, it could be anybody. Who is your favorite member of the Eagles of all time, or one of them?
All time?
Yeah.
All time. No, Tommy McDonald.
Oh, Tommy McDonald. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tommy McDonald was my boyhood hero.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love with him
when he was at Oklahoma.
Yeah, when I first began rooting for him when he was playing at the University of Oklahoma, And then I was thrilled to death when the Eagles drafted him in
Yeah.
1957, when I knew, oh my God, I'm actually going to get to meet this guy up at training camp. And then when I did meet him, he handed me his helmet and said, "Here, want to carry this? Walk with me to practice," literally.
Yeah.
And then so, yeah, he was my hero. He was my favorite player.
Oh, sure.
And that was when he was a rookie in '57.
Right.
And then a couple years, and then very quickly he became one of the great receivers of all time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then in 1960, helped them win an NFL championship. And
Yeah.
then later on, we developed a friendship that when I sort of made the effort to try and mount a campaign to get him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he did get in '98, he asked me to be his presenter in Canton. So, that was a really unique and very special 40-year friendship that started
Wow.
with a little boy carrying his hero's helmet in 1957 and wound up with both of us standing on the steps of the Hall of Fame in '98. That's a pretty special story. And that's why, I actually sat down and wrote it as a play, and it became the play Tommy and Me, which has been running for 10 years in Philadelphia. So,
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who,
Go ahead. Who's next?
Charlie, are you finished yet? Because I wanted to ask him.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Ask him a question.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm sorry, somebody has a question? I didn't get it.
Yeah,
He's
I
getting ready
do.
to ask you a question now. Go ahead, William.
Which books are you most proud of that you wrote? Which one was your favorite?
Of the books that I've written,
Yeah, which book?
well, probably my memoir. I mean, probably Finished Business. Uh, that was sort of a look back on my 50 years in the business, and it was a chance to kind of look back over my whole lifetime in the business, covering sports in Philadelphia, and just talk about what that whole experience was like and what it meant to me, and the people that I met, things that I saw, experiences I had. Actually having an opportunity to sit down and write that was really a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun. I honestly don't think I ever would have written it if the Eagles hadn't won a Super Bowl. That's why the title of the book was Finished Business, because when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, that kind of made it finished business. I had covered the Flyers 2 Stanley Cups. I had covered the Sixers championship with Dr. J and Moses. And I had covered the 2 World Series that the Phillies won in '80, and then the Utley Rollins team. I was there for all that. But the one piece that was missing was the Eagles. And when the Eagles finally did win Super Bowl 52, and I was there to cover it and be part of that whole wonderful scene, I knew, yeah, there's a book here. The fact that kind of completed the circle. That gave me a chance to say that, I saw all 4 of the Philadelphia franchises win a championship. I rode in all of those parades. It was now complete. It was now finished business.
Yeah.
So I guess that one. I mean, I'm really proud of the Eagles Encyclopedia too. I mean, I did 4 editions of that, and I'm proud of the fact that we were able to get it done. I mean, it is a massive job.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
You're talking about writing the history of a National Football League team, with all the stats, with all the scores, with all the draft picks, with all the records, with all the with all of that stuff that has to be part of it. It's a mammoth job. I mean, when we just did the most recent one, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2 years ago against Kansas City, I updated the book, and this was Eagles Encyclopedia 4, and we called it Champions 2 for their second championship.
That was
It
good.
was 530 pages. I mean, it was a mammoth book and a lot of work. So
I'm
I'm really
sure.
proud of the way that turned
Yeah.
out.
What was it like hosting with Glenn Mack and the radio show? And do you miss hosting with him?
With Glenn?
Yeah, with Glenn Mack.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We still do stuff together. We do a show on stage now, live in theaters. Actually, two of them. One of them is a show which we call Sports Movies Night, where we go on stage and we show film clips from some great sports movies, and talk about the making of the movie and how it was done and how it was cast, and why it was successful and how it was successful. That's one show we do. And then we also have started doing a show called Greatest Moments in Philadelphia Sports, where we pick what we feel are the 10 greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history and talk about each one of them and show some pictures, show some film clips, and again, talk about how that all came about and little bits of trivia and things that people might not have been aware of that happen behind the scenes. And so we've done that. In fact, we just did it last month. We did a greatest moments of Philly sports at the Ocean City Music Pier down on the boardwalk in Jersey. And we had more than 600 people came and had a great time. And it's Glenn and me and Joe Conklin.
Oh yeah, I know Muggsy. Yeah,
Who
we grew up in.
everybody knows Joe Conklin and being the great comedian and does
He
all the
grew,
different voices. So Joe's there, and all night Joe is doing Harry Callis, and he's doing Merle and Mike, and he's doing Andy Reid, and he's doing Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley. And it's Glenn and I kind of bring the facts, the figures, and the stats, and Joe brings the
him.
laughs.
Yeah.
And it's a real fun evening. We've enjoyed doing it. We'll probably wind up. Actually, we are doing another one coming up October 30th at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville.
Oh wow.
If any of your viewers kind of live up that way and would like to come out and enjoy a night of great Philadelphia sports history, tickets are actually on sale now. Go to the Colonial Theater website and you can order your tickets and come out. I guarantee you'll have a good time.
Yeah, Joey Conklin grew up in the same neighborhood I grew up in. We both went to the same school. We went to St. Helena's and Cardinal Doherty. He's a couple years younger than me. But yeah, they used to live on Phillip Street. No, on 3rd Street. I don't know, somewhere in there. And yeah, he went to school with one of my sisters, I believe. So yeah, I've known Joe a long time. Joe was always getting his butt in trouble in school. We had St. Joe nuns too, so that St. Joe nuns don't have any thought of not whacking somebody if they think that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, or that's the
Right.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, Sisters of St. Joseph aren't known for their sense of humor. No.
Yeah, they have no sense of humor.
I can see where Joe probably got in a lot of trouble in school.
Oh yeah, they were that's great. They had no sense of humor. That's right. I mean, I never saw none laugh. But maybe that's not true. I had a couple months that I had one nun that I thought was excellent. Like you were talking about the sister that you had in 5th grade. I had a teacher in 6th grade, Sister John Agnes, and she was great for us because we were always learning, and she was always making it fun to do things, and to learn and step out and write, and it just was incredible. She was an incredible teacher, and there's a lot of people that'll tell you the same story about her, and I'm sure a lot of people would tell the same story about the sister that said about you becoming a writer.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's probably true. Sister Claire was a good teacher. I had her in 5th grade, and then I had her again in 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean, learned a lot from her. I mean, she was really tough. I mean, as the Sisters of St. Joseph were known to be tough, and they were. I mean, I remember I had asthma as a kid, and wound up in the hospital for a lot of weeks in 7th grade, and she came to the hospital every day after school to go over the classroom work with me. She would do her whole day at Our Lady of Peace, and then she would come to the hospital, and I could hear her coming. I mean, she got off the elevator at the end of the hall, and I could hear her coming down the hall because back then the nuns all wore, they had all those rosary beads and stuff on.
Right.
And so I could hear her. I could hear her. I could hear her. I could hear her coming down the hall, and I knew what it was going to be like. For the next 3 hours, I'd be back in class again. But the fact that she cared that much to make that effort to come to school and spend that time with me so that I didn't fall behind is the mark of a true educator. And and I mean, she was dedicated to it. And you know, that one little moment, that one little essay thing in 5th grade where she told me I should be a writer. I mean, it's moments like that that kind of shape the trajectory of your life in some cases. I know it did for me.
Absolutely.
And in 2022, Eagles went to the Super Bowl and lost to Kansas City, and then in 2023, they lost in the wild card round against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After that, Harry made a big move by signing Saquon Barkley. After that, they went on to win the Super Bowl. What do you think about all those moves Harry did?
The year that when they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, when they got signed Barkley.
Yeah,
it was great. I mean, it was, Howie Roseman was NFL Executive of the Year. He could have been Executive of the Decade for what he did. And he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what Saquon Barkley was. He felt like he'd be a perfect fit for this offense. And he was. He came in, and I mean, I thought he'd be really good because I thought Barkley was a very special player going all the way back to his days at Penn State. And I felt like he was stuck in a bad situation with the Giants. They weren't a good team. And I felt like coming to a new team, better team, with an offense that suited him, with a good offensive line, unlike the one he had in New York.
Right.
I thought he would have a breakout year in Philadelphia. I thought he would come here and be really good. But I never imagined that he would have been a 2,000-yard back or NFL Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, in all the years, the Eagles go back to 1933.
Yeah.
And they have never had a player win Offensive Player of the Year, ever, in the history of the franchise, until Barkley did it 2 years ago. So yeah, I mean that was a masterstroke bringing Barkley in, and he responded with just a magnificent year, the best year that any Eagles running back has ever had, and it's a credit to him, but it's also a credit to Howie Roseman, the general manager, who made the moves, who spent the money and outbid the other teams to bring him here to Philadelphia, and the result was it won him a world championship.
I'm sure he did a lot of checking out on him because he wanted to make sure that his head was in the right spot to come to the Eagles and play, so that he would mesh. He has a lot of he's a lot like Christian McCaffrey, in the way they run, and it's something that as soon as they're here, they're there, and then they're gone. I think that like the 49ers pull him out into space on the sideline to run that arrow pass. I think that Saquon Barkley would do great on those passes out in the flat where the other guys have taken off and they cleared the spot out for him. But that's a whole different. That's a whole. Sorry about that. The football coach in me always comes out when we do this stuff. So.
No, I think. Well, I think they need to throw. I think they need to throw him the ball more.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
I think that, and I think that this new offense this year, which everybody's been talking about, the change in the offense. One of the things that you'll see, I think, one of the things that you'll see is that they will use Barkley as a receiver more, which they should. I mean, he is a very good receiver. I mean, his rookie year with the Giants, he caught 91 passes. I mean, he's a good receiver.
He's an excellent athlete.
I just didn't think the Eagles, especially last year, didn't utilize him in that role nearly enough.
Yeah.
He lost that one game for us against the Falcons, though, when he dropped that ball on, I think it was 30. I'm not going to say he lost it for us, but if he caught that one slant route on 3rd down, which he dropped, gave the ball back to the Falcons, and the Falcons won at the end. Do you guys remember that game?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that happens in football.
Yeah, put it in context. That's one play.
It's one play
in which he carried them to the Super Bowl. Okay.
That's
when you're talking about one ball that got dropped in week 2 that cost them a game that in the grand scheme of things didn't mean diddly.
I know. Right. I'm just being harsh. That was the one drop I even remember him ever making.
Well, I'm sure he remembers it too. But when I look back on that year, you know, I thought if you want to talk about Saquon Barkley's year, what people will remember, if they're going to remember one thing, it's probably the backward leap against Jacksonville, which is a play the likes of which I have never seen anybody ever do that.
Yeah.
So to me, everything else he accomplished far, far, far outweighs the one drop in the Atlanta in week 2.
Oh, absolutely. And you learn from it. You learn that, how he can figure out, why did I drop this? Did I pick my head up too fast to see who was coming, or this, that, or the other thing, and clean it up? You know what I mean? So that in week 7, he doesn't drop that ball. He catches it and he goes. I think that there's a lot playing football. There's a lot that you can learn from your mistakes. An incredible amount that you can learn from your mistakes. And
I mean, it was a drop. I mean, there's nothing to learn. I mean, he dropped it.
Right.
I mean, it's not. Yeah. There's nothing strategic about it. It's I mean, the ball hit him in the hands and he dropped it. I mean, I mean, that happens. That's part of football. I mean, you could argue that they probably shouldn't have even thrown the ball there. They should have just run and kept the clock running. If they had done that, they would have won the game. But they said they outsmarted themselves by throwing the ball, and they wound up with the drop, and they stopped the clock, and they gave Atlanta the ball back with a chance to win the game. That's football. But if you just want to look at the whole season, when it was all said and done, they were the ones holding up the Lombardi Trophy.
Right.
So I would say that what happened in week 2 probably doesn't matter a whole hell of a lot.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Last year, the Eagles didn't have a good season after they lost to San Francisco in the playoffs. After that, there was AJ Brown saga, the saga. What do you think about the AJ Brown saga and that he got traded to the Patriots and now we have Mekhi Lemons as the wide receiver?
Right. Well, I think they had to make. I think they had to make the move. I don't think there was any way after the way last season ended that you could bring AJ back. He's still a real good player, and I think he's probably going to have a big year in New England. But he had to move on. I mean, it was just the situation within this team had just become untenable.
Yeah.
He was not happy. He clearly wasn't happy here. Didn't want to be here. And if I've learned anything in 50 years of covering sports, it's when you have a player or a coach who doesn't want to be somewhere, then don't, don't try to make them be there. Okay.
Yeah, let them go.
If you take a guy who doesn't want to be in a situation, but you get stubborn and you don't let him move, and you try to say, we can make this work. It never works.
It never works. It never works.
I mean, it's not that AJ's at the end of the line, because he's not. I think if people are out there and I know they're out there, I hear from all the fantasy football players, people that play in fantasy leagues. If you get a chance to get AJ Brown, go get him. Because I think AJ Brown's going to have a big year in New England. Yeah. He still can play, but he was done with Philadelphia.
He's
and to be frank,
attitudinal.
and to be frank, the fans were done with him. Yeah. So I mean, it was. I don't think there was any doubt in my mind that they were going to move on. And they were able to trade him, get something for him, and now he's off in New England. Listen, hey, I hope he does well. I mean, he helped this team win a Super Bowl. They gave him a couple of really good years. I mean, great years. But it had run its course here. And so now, the drafting of Mekhi Lemon, I think he's going to be a good player here. I mean, it's unfortunate that he's been dealing with this hamstring injury, which has cost him a lot of time. I mean, it's basically cost him all of training camp. And it's a shame. I mean, he's missing a lot of reps that would help him get ready for week 1.
Absolutely.
And I know some people are already, starting to say, oh, it's a wasted draft pick, and calm down. Okay. Yeah. I thought, my own personal evaluation of him, I thought he was the best receiver in college football last year. I thought he was the best, really. And in what was a pretty good draft for wide receivers this year, I had him as my number 1 guy. I didn't think the Eagles would have a shot at him. But when they made the trade to get up to 20 to get him, I thought it was a really good pickup. He'll be the guy in the slot this year, and they'll go with a lot of 3 wide looks. Right. And he'll get a lot of opportunities. I think he's going to be a good player. I'm sorry he missed a lot of reps in training camp, but once the season starts and he gets back on the field, he's going to produce in a big way, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to get his football sense underneath him, his football body, get that into playing shape. That's what I mean. Getting into playing shape as he's getting ready to go out onto the field. That didn't make any sense. What I'm saying is that he has a lot of reps that he would need to get back to playing like at a top level. Do you think, or you think that he can just come in and just walk right in and he'd be fine?
No, I don't think it's going to hold him back that much. I mean, I wish he had gotten all the reps. I wish he had gotten all the practice so that he'd be really ready to go in week 1. I don't think it's going to hurt him long term. I mean, it's a long season. I mean, it's 17 games, and then you get to the playoffs. I mean, it's a long season. So he'll have plenty of opportunities. I mean, is this going to hold him back initially? Yeah, maybe a little bit. And they probably won't. They'll probably monitor his snaps in the first couple of weeks of the season just to make sure that he doesn't re-pull the hamstring. I mean, if you try to bring a guy back too quick on a hamstring, I know the player wants to play and the coaches want him out there. And sometimes if you rush him out onto the field, then he pulls it again and then he's done for the year.
Yeah.
So you're better off let him heal up, let him get to 100%, and then get him on the field. But I have no doubt that over time, I mean, he's going to be really, really good receiver. I mean, and he will complement. I think I've actually got 3 pretty good receivers. AJ Brown, not Devontae Smith, is pretty much an elite receiver in his own right. I mean, he kind of got overshadowed by AJ, but Devontae Smith is a very, very good receiver. And so I think he'll be fine. Wicks, the guy they signed from Green Bay, gives them size on the other side. He'll be fine. And Lemon will be with his size and his quickness inside. I mean, I think he'll be a very, very good slot receiver. So, I don't know that they're going to have any one receiver that's going to have 100 catches and 1,500 yards and put up the kind of numbers that AJ did. I think there's going to be more distribution in the passing game. I think they're going to spread it out, and everybody's going to get their share of catches. But I think overall, the new look of the offense and some of the new personnel will actually be a healthy thing here, a healthy thing for the offense and a healthy thing for the quarterback.
What's your prediction for the Eagles this year? How many games do you think they'll win?
I still think they're the best team in the division. I still think they're better. I still think they're the best team in the division. I think they're better than the Cowboys, better than the Giants in Washington.
Yeah, Ray, if you don't mind me asking you this question, how would you compare the fans of Philadelphia to other cities?
Philly fans are the best. Philly fans are the best.
Yes.
I think they're the most knowledgeable. I think they're the smartest. I think they're the most loyal. And when a team is going good, I don't know if there's another team in any sport that has a better home field advantage than they do here in Philadelphia. I will admit to a certain bias being from Philadelphia and having grown up here and followed all these teams and having grown up in a family surrounded by Eagles fans, Philly fans, that I feel a certain loyalty and kinship there. I will admit to a certain amount of that. But I also have been around the country and I've been around the league and I've seen the other cities and I know what the fans are. And you got some good ones. I mean, the Bear fans are great fans. Steelers fans are great fans. Packer fans are great fans. But nobody has anything like Philadelphia in terms of being smart and in terms of being loyal and sticking with the team through thick and thin. If the team goes bad, I mean, they can be pretty rough and they'll boo you.
They get a lot of boos in there.
But I think that the fact is they're there week in, week out, whether you're 4-12 or 12-4, they're there for you. And that's what real fans do is they stick with you. And in Philly, they stick with you all the time. And so I think I've said this before and I'll say it forever, that I think Philadelphia fans are the best fans. And I truly do believe that.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, there's nobody that loves their Eagles more than kids from Philly, and there's nobody that loves their Phillies more than us Philly kids. I mean, I remember going down on the subway with tickets that I got from the paper, with selling papers, and going down there and sitting up in the 700 level and watching the game from all the way up there. And it was enjoyable to do that. It was freedom to get out and go see the Phillies play.
Yeah.
But today, I'm sure it's still the same today. With people coming in and all excited on the subway coming in and like they unload the cattle car and everybody comes out. Yeah, you're right. Philadelphia is the best fans because they'll let you know when you screw up, no doubt about it, but they're behind you 100%. I mean, I'm a big Phillies fan, so I watch a lot of baseball, and I think that those Philly fans, they sell out whether they're playing at a businessman special at 1 o'clock or if they're playing at 7 o'clock in the evening. They're always sold out. I mean, everybody's just waiting for the Phillies to erupt and become the great World Series team that we're hoping for.
Yeah, well, maybe this will be a year. I just think that. I think the best way of putting this, I think that Philadelphia fans identify themselves with their teams more than fans in any other city. I think if you're a Philadelphian, especially a native Philadelphian, that the teams that you root for become a part of who you are. They become a
Right.
part of your identity. Philadelphia people, they identify themselves as an Eagles fan is who you are. It's not
Right.
just that's a team I watch on Sunday. That you are that's what you are Monday through Friday.
Right.
I mean, you're passing people on the street, you're walking in and out of the Wawa, holding the door, and the guy says, "Go Birds."
Yeah.
It's not just a Sunday thing. It's a part of how you identify yourself. As a Philadelphian, you identify yourself as a Philly fan. You're an Eagle fan. You're a Philly fan. You're a Flyers
Yes.
and Sixers fan. It's part of who you are. And I think it becomes like a family thing. These teams become
Yeah.
a part of your family. And look, we all have family and we all have relatives, and they're not all perfect. Okay. We all have relatives that, when they come over your house to try and help you fix the washing machine, they just wind up breaking it. Okay.
Yeah. They get in the
And
way.
you get mad at them, but ultimately they're your uncle and you love them. Okay.
Right.
You
Yeah.
you wish they were better at fixing the washing machine.
Yep.
They're not, but they're family and you love them
Yeah.
despite it all. That's the way we are with our teams. That's the way we are.
Absolutely.
That's how we view our teams. And it's not a hot and cold thing with our teams and the fans here. You're all in all the time with them,
Right.
and I see that sense of identification stronger in Philadelphia than I do in other places. And listen, right now we're in a really good time. I mean, the Eagles are a good team. I think they're going to be a playoff team yet again. The Phillies are right in the middle of a pennant race and are playing their best baseball at the best time. The Sixers just signed the greatest player in the NBA, and the Flyers look like they're on the rise. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Philly sports fan,
This is your year.
you're in a real good place right now because all the teams look like they're teams that are worth following.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Phillies? They won today against the Seattle, and they're like 2.5 games against the Brave. Do you think they could win the division or get that second wild card spot?
Oh yeah, they're going to the playoffs. Yeah, they're going to go to the playoffs, and they might win the division. I mean, one of the things about September is they play the Braves a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that this division is going to come down to those games. I think they play like in September. I think they have like 7 games against the
Yeah.
Braves.
I think they play 4 games at home here and play 3 games down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I
So
think this.
those games are going to decide who wins the division, but it's absolutely winnable. The Phillies don't have an easy schedule. They've got those games against the Braves. Plus, they finish with Milwaukee and Tampa, I think.
Yeah.
So the Phillies have some tough games on the schedule, but the way they're playing right now, I mean, they've gotten hot right at the time that you want to get hot.
Right.
They're playing their best ball right now, heading towards the postseason. So I'm sure the Dodgers will be the favorites, as they should be with that roster and that payroll. They should be.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's really good, a really good balanced team and some really good pitching.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good teams. The American League is really poor, but the National League has some good teams. But the Phillies are right there with them. And I mean, I would be shocked if they didn't make the playoffs. I fully expect them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when they get in the playoffs with their starting pitching, they're going to be tough. I don't care who they play. They're going to be a tough test.
Yeah.
You have the Dodgers and the Braves are in the 8th inning tied up right now. Looks like a good game.
Speaking of the Sixers, they lost to the Knicks. They got swept by the Knicks, and Knicks went on to win the NBA championship. And then after the off season, they fired Del Morey and they hired a new guy named Mike Gansey. And then Mike Gansey, he goes and trades Paul George for Jaylen Brown. When he traded Paul George for Jaylen Brown and some draft picks, what do you think about that trade?
It's great. It's great. I mean, Paul George is, he was a really good player, but he's at the end of the line now.
Right.
And Jaylen Brown was the fourth leading scorer in the league last year. And it was a situation where I guess there was some issues up there where they felt like it kind of like almost an AJ Brown thing. I mean, it had come time to move him. He
Right.
wanted out. The team felt like they had to move him, and Sixers said, "Come on." So, and you bring him. Not only does he add to your roster, but he now makes you a player in the LeBron sweepstakes.
Right.
When they got Jaylen Brown, all of a sudden the Sixers become a more enviable destination for LeBron James.
Yeah, it was.
If the Sixers didn't have Brown, I don't think LeBron James would be here. But bringing Brown in, I think, helped bring LeBron here. And now the Sixers are right now. If you're looking at the NBA's East, I mean, it's the Sixers and the Knicks, really. And we all know how hard it is to win back to back.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that's what the Knicks are going to be trying to do. The Knicks are going to be trying to go back to back. That's hard. And the Sixers have a real shot. I mean, they really do. And I think that, LeBron has got. It's not about money with him. He didn't come here for the money. He came here for the opportunity. He came here with the idea of trying to become the first player in NBA history to win championship with 4 different teams. Nobody's ever done that. So, I mean, this is about his legacy. I mean, he wants to come here and he wants to be that guy. And he also wants to be a guy who kind of will be thought of as the guy who helped get this franchise over the hump.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't won a championship since Dr. J and Moses, which is 40 years ago.
Right.
If LeBron comes here and helps this team win a championship, then it further burnishes his credentials as one of the great players of all time. And listen, I think they have a chance. I really do.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Does that, Basil, do you have any questions?
I
do.
agree. I think that I could call LeBron James the greatest NBA player in my lifetime if the Sixers win a championship in the next few years. Yeah, I mean, Rahul, weren't you going to ask a question from one of our viewers on YouTube? We have a couple minutes left.
Yeah. Before we go to the fans have some questions for you. Before we go to the fan questions, what do you think about the Flyers season this year? Do you think they could win the Eastern Conference Finals this year?
The Flyers?
Yeah, Eastern Conference.
No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, that would be asking too much. They've dug themselves out of the hole that they were in. They were just nowhere for a decade. I mean, they weren't even a factor. They were a non-factor in this grand scheme of things in the NHL. Now you can see that they've got a good young nucleus and they're on their way up. They made the playoffs last year and won a round, beat Pittsburgh. Hadn't won a playoff round since back in COVID. I mean, it had been that long since they won a round. And they won a round last year. And I think I would expect them to be back in the playoffs this year. And as these young players continue to develop, they're only going to get better. I think they're on their way. I really do. But as far as winning the East, probably not. But they're certainly moving in the right direction.
Yeah, their team at the end of the season with all those young guys that can skate. I mean, speed kills, and they got it. And it's just a matter of now getting game experience in the NHL, and getting their position that they play as tight as it can possibly be, so that when they get out on the ice, they can do positive things. I think I see the Flyers as that kind of team.
Oh yeah, they're on the rise. They're definitely on the rise. That's what I said. I mean, if you're a Philly sports fan, this is a good time.
Yeah.
This is a good time. It really is. I mean, the Eagles are going back to the playoffs. The Phillies I'm positive are going to the playoffs. The Sixers could wind up being favorites to win the East, but it's all said and done. And the Flyers are not quite there yet, but they're moving in the right direction. If you're a Philly fan, this is a good time. I mean, I'm old enough that I remember the early 70s when it was bleak, boy. I mean, it was all the teams that they weren't just bad, they were like at the absolute rock bottom.
Joe
And
must go. Remember
you
that?
didn't have a
Sounds
chance.
Frank.
Didn't have a
No.
chance to win anything, and now every one of your teams is in play. I mean, if you're a fan, that's exactly what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
And there's some question from the fans. Um, one of the fan, he asks, his name is Matt. He asks, Ray Didinger has obviously been very successful. Did he have any special mentors or people who inspired him during his career?
Yeah, the two big ones were Stan Hochman, who I think people remember as a great columnist
yeah.
for the Philadelphia Daily News.
Yeah.
Stan was, I competed again. I read him when I was a kid going to Temple. I used to read the Daily News on the subway every day
Right.
on my way up to school. And so I read Stan Hochman every day, and then got the opportunity when I got into business to work against him when I was at the Bulletin, and then when I went to the Daily News, work with him. And he was a mentor for me. I learned a lot from Stan. And a guy who worked with me at the Philadelphia Bulletin, a guy named Sandy Grady, going
Yeah.
back a long way, back 50s, 60s. Sandy Grady was sort of my role model when I was growing up. When I first started really reading the sports pages,
Yeah.
I would read Sandy Grady every day and try to emulate his writing style. And similar kind of thing. When I wound up getting hired by the Bulletin, I wound up getting the desk right next to Sandy Grady in the Bulletin newsroom.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so I wound up working actually next to my hero, and that was, yeah, those guys, Stan and Sandy, both had a tremendous influence on me as guys who went about doing this job the right way.
Yeah, they were good guys. They were good guys. Stan Hochman and Sandy Grady. They just seemed to be good guys, you know.
They
The-
were. They
the-
were.
the-
And then later on in radio, when I started doing radio at WIP, Stan and I were paired together. We did a Saturday show that they called the Saturday Sports Page. And it was Stan and me with 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturday. Stan and I did that show for, oh, geez, about 4 years. And I just, every Saturday I would come in and look forward to working with him, because at the end of the 4 hours, I guarantee he would tell me another story I had never heard before, or I would learn something I didn't know before. Just working with the guy was, he was in the business for 56 years and, covered every big event, and was a guy that was never afraid to ask the tough question. In a press conference, when everybody else was kind of dancing around what they wanted to know, Stan was the guy who would ask the question that nobody else wanted to ask. He had the guts to ask it, and he had the credibility to get away with it. And as a young guy watching him do his job, it was really, really educational.
Yeah, I'm sure it was very enlightening. Yes.
And another question from the viewer. His name is Matt Porter. He wants to know, what advice would you give to students who want to get into radio such as Monka Radio, and where music and minds meet?
Well, if depending on where you are, I guess, if you're in high school looking to get into college, or if you're in college looking to get a job, two different situations. If you're in high school and you're looking to get to a college, try and find a school with a good communications program. Obviously, Syracuse, Northwestern, Missouri are all really good schools. I would highly recommend Temple. I think the Temple School of Communications is as good as any. If I had it to do over again, I would go back to Temple in a minute. I mean, it was a great school. and it really helped me. It helped me step right out of college into the business and didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And that was 1968, and the school is even bigger and better now. So if you're thinking in terms of a career in communications, be it writing or TV radio, Temple University is as good as any. That would be my recommendation. The other is if you're already in college and you're looking to try and find a job, be patient. Be patient, because it's hard. It's hard to get that start. That first job is a hard one to find, and sometimes you have to be a little flexible. You know, you have to. You probably want to stay here. You'd love to start in your hometown, where you're comfortable, where you know the teams, where you know the city. I was lucky. I got that opportunity, but a lot of people don't. So sometimes you have to take that first job. It might be in Kansas City, or it might be in Duluth, or it might
Right.
be. You got to go where that opportunity is.
Yeah.
But if the idea is you want to work in Philadelphia, okay, I need to get started. Let me get started here, and maybe I can work my way back.
Right.
And
Right.
that's most people have to go that route. I was lucky. I was able to start right in Philadelphia, but be patient and be willing to look for the right job. And even if it's not the perfect job, and even if it's not where you wish to be, and even if they're not paying you exactly what you'd like to make, sometimes you have to make sacrifices just to get your foot in the door. So
Yeah.
be patient, but if it's really what you want to do, if you really feel like that's what you want to do, then go for it. That's the best thing I can tell you.
Um,
Really great advice, Ray. Thank you.
before William wraps the show up, do you have any message for all the Philadelphia fans out there watching our show tonight?
The message I would have is enjoy. You know, I mean, I've mentioned it a couple of other times, but I think it bears repeating. Is that these are really good times.
Yeah.
If you're this is a really good time to be a sports fan in Philadelphia. Again, I will tell you, if you look back at what it was like in the early '70s, man, it was, the Sixers had a season where they won 9 games,
Yeah.
and they weren't even trying to tank. Okay,
Right.
they were just that bad.
Yeah.
The
Roy
Flyers,
Rubin.
yeah, the Roy Rubin team. The Phillies were the worst team in baseball, except on the dates when Carlton pitched. The Eagles were about the worst team in the NFL at that time. And the Flyers were a young team that was just starting and missing the playoffs. And each of those teams started the season, and as a fan, you had no hope. You had no hope that
Anything was going to happen.
these forget about winning a championship, that they could even have a winning season. But as the '70s went along, and the Broad Street Bullies helped turn it around. The Broad Street Bullies, the Flyers, they won back-to-back cups.
Right.
And then right after that, things started falling into place. The Sixers got Dr. J, Phillies got Pete Rose, Eagles hired Dick Vermeil. And by the end of the decade, by '79, '80, all of a sudden, all 4 teams are playing for a championship.
Yeah, the Phillies playing in playoffs.
But early on, it was really bleak. And for those of us that lived through it, it was pretty miserable. Well, now you're in a situation where all of your teams are in play. I mean, and so if you're a fan, enjoy it, because for those of us older ones, we remember what the lean times are like.
Right.
So when things are good, allow yourself to enjoy it. Because
if it's going to swing one way, it's going to swing back the other way somewhere. We hope not, but that's just the way it goes, right?
Yep, that's the cycle of sports. That's the beauty of sports. I mean, that's why people love it. That's why people like me spend a lifetime writing about it. It's sports. The great thing about sports is there's no script. When the game starts, you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody wrote you a happy ending. Okay, it's just going to play out, and you take your chances. And when all your teams each week give you a chance to win, that's a great thing.
Now, when you're doing a game, when you're at a game and you're watching a Phillies play or whatever, how do you record that game? Do you take notes? Do you have a machine to can oh, I don't know if that would even be able to take in the sound. What is it that you do you when you're covering a team
When
and
I'm
you're in
covering it, or if I'm just watching as a fan now?
no, if you're covering a team, what is there anything different that you do as you would as a fan?
Oh, sure. I mean, you're taking notes on everything. I mean, at least I did.
Yeah.
You're taking notes the whole time, sure. And even now, um, even now, even though I'm not doing pregame, postgame, and all the other stuff that I used to do, if I'm watching an Eagles game, I have the yellow legal tablet out and I'm charting every play, just because I want to keep my head in the game, and
Yeah.
I keep those notes. But I mean, I was the kind of kid when I was 8 years old going to a Phillies game. I got a scorecard and I kept score. I
Yeah.
mean, my
Yeah.
my grandfather and my father taught me how to do that. So if I go to a Phillies game, I'll keep a box score. Sixers Flyers games, I'll just sit and watch. But baseball, I keep a box score. And football, if I'm watching an Eagles game, I'm charting every play. Just because after 50 years, I don't know
That's
any
what
other way to watch the game.
that's what you do. That's how you watch the game. Yeah. Uh, that's that's incredible. Uh, are we ending this?
Yeah,
Uh,
Ray, we want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for inspiring millions of people that that are trying to go into broadcasting or have podcasts and all. Thank you for inspiring us, and we loved watching you on TV and all. And thank you for this was a pleasure moment being with you tonight.
Oh,
Um,
well, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed visiting with you guys. I've enjoyed visiting with the three amigos, and enjoyed the conversation very much. And um, I hope the folks who were tuning in, they enjoyed it as well. Again,
yeah,
what I would tell you is, you know, enjoy it. Enjoy
yeah.
it. These are good times. Stick with your teams,
have
and
fun.
and I and just be a good fan. I mean, just be. If you go to the games, don't
Do
don't throw
something.
snowballs. Don't throw any more snowballs at Santa Claus. You know, don't don't throw anything at the manager when he comes out of the dugout. You
That
know,
was back in '68 when
and
the Phillies, the Eagles fans bombed Santa Claus as he came out.
and we've and we're still hearing about it today. So
That
don't
was
do any of that kind of stuff.
1968. Yeah.
Don't do anything. Don't do anything like that. And I don't think the teams are going to give you any reason to do that. I think just
No.
sit back and enjoy it and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. That whole thing with Santa Claus, though, that was just a snapshot in time. It just was the whole Eagles program of the late '60s and into the '70s. It could be all in that Santa Claus getting snowballed. That's the way.
Yeah, I was there that day. I mean, at final game of the '68 season, I was there that day, and it happened. I was there. I saw it. I didn't
Yeah.
throw any snowballs, but I saw the snowballs.
But
But I mean, it is almost 60 years ago. So I think we could put it to rest now.
Yeah, just guys like us to remember. Yeah.
were you at the miracle at the Meadowlands when the Eagles came from behind and beat the Giants in Miracle of the Meadowlands Part Two with Andy Reid, Michael Vick, and Deshaun Jackson?
I was at the original Miracle of the Meadowlands, the Herman Edwards scoop and score at
Right.
the end of the game. I was there at the stadium for that. In fact, I was standing right behind the end zone that Herman Edwards ran into. In fact, Herman almost ran into my lap. So I was there for that. On the other one, the other Miracles of the Meadowlands, the Brian Westbrook punt return at the end of the game that won the one game, and then the Deshaun Jackson punt return that won the other game. I was in the TV studio at Comcast Sportsnet getting ready to do the post-game show. So I was in a TV studio that day. I wasn't in Giant Stadium those days. I was in Giant Stadium for the original Miracle of the Meadowlands, and yeah, that's one of those days. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Yeah. Joe Pisarcik, and he ended up coming over to the Eagles and playing quarterback for the Eagles for a couple of years.
He was the backup quarterback behind Jaworski when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe never lived that one down.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, it wasn't really his fault. I mean, the coaches should have just fallen on the ball, but they sent in the order that they wanted to run the ball, and Joe followed orders. And Larry Zonka, for one of the rare times in his career, actually missed the handoff, and turns out that it takes one bounce right into the hands of Herman Edwards, and next thing you know, it's in the end zone. And
that's football.
That propelled Vermeule's team to the playoffs for the first time, and actually kind of got the ball rolling for the whole Vermeule program. Pretty memorable day.
Yeah.
Giant.
Those were great days. Just thinking about them because they're in the past and we can laugh about it. But today, like you say, Ray, I mean, we should be enjoying our teams because they're doing what they're playing their butts off, and I enjoy watching players playing with heart and work hard. I don't know if that came out right, but yeah. So thank you, Joe. Thank Joe. Jesus.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you,
for joining
Ray.
us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. That was a fun visit, and maybe I'll see you down the ballpark one of these days.
Yeah.
You might.
Yeah. Thank you for cover. Raul, is it time to do a closing statement yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
20
you
after.
for your 53 years at covering Philly sports, Ray.
Well, thank you, and it was a pleasure. I can't imagine I could have done anything that would have given me more pleasure than this. It was
Oh, really?
53 years doing exactly what I wanted to do. I feel very fortunate.
I met you like 2 times. The first time I met you was down at the NFL draft in Ben Franklin Parkway. I remember meeting you over there.
That was a fun weekend. I hope Philadelphia gets to host that again. That was that was a fun weekend on the Parkway. Yes, it
Eagles
was.
training camp practice was last night. I was there.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I'm sure, and it was very successful. I'm sure the league was really happy with the way that went off. So I know that will come around again. I don't know when, but I'm sure the draft will come back to Philadelphia again. And Parkway is a great venue for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the other part is where Philadelphia is located. It's right in among a whole lot of cities. So you get Giants and Jets fans will come down from New York. You'll get Washington fans will come up from Washington. Baltimore fans will come up from Baltimore. Steelers fans will come in from Pittsburgh. Where Philadelphia is located, there's a lot of teams within driving distance.
Yeah.
And you get all of those fans converging here for the draft. It's really like the perfect place for it.
Yeah.
I don't know when the draft will come back, but I know it'll come back. I'm sure of it.
Oh, I hope so.
William, can you do this closing statement?
Thank you, Ray.
I already did that. Oh, the one we always do?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Rockin' with Rahul and the Free Amigos tonight. Please be sure to click and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram. Thank you, and see you all next week on our next episode. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Well,
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Nice fun, guys. Good show. I enjoyed it.
Good night. Good night, Ray.